Alright guys, we're going to do a fun video of things that I would add to the game, or like a wish list of things that I would like added to the game. But the first thing I want to go over is better unit customization. I think the unit customization part would actually not be that difficult. There's like probably a couple things that they could do. One would be let me click the individual soldiers here and just customize them based on the gear that I have. Or they could even keep the system that they already have down here with the squad editor and just let me do let us do multiple presets. Currently we only are able to do one preset for each unit type, so if I want to do police, you know, I can go through and customize each and every dude down to the T here. But then when I make them, every squad is going to be exactly the same, and maybe you want more than just 4 different types of squads, because realistically that is what you would be with unless you made a unit, waited for it to fully be reinforced. Then when you go to make a new one, you could make a new customization, but that just takes forever. So realistically, you're only able to have about 4 different squads, especially if you rearmament. Then it'll put them to what you want them or the next available gear. But I just think it would be very good for the game to add another tab like that, or to change this to add multiple. And it'd be really easy too, because you could just go to click militia or police and it would pop up like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just pick which preset you want. Or you could do what I said earlier and just let me click, Braden Harris, and let me customize him specifically. And then you could keep the other thing and just have it do like a default preset, but let me do the dudes individually. I would really love to do that. But let's go on to the next thing. So the next thing on my wish list would be for all of these starting places that they control to be either counties or provinces, kind of like Total War or like Mountain Blade. So that way when you take over a territory, like right here, should be one province, this area that's blue, and then like this green one would be another province. Once you take it all over, you would control that province, and you could build more than one building in each thing. So like I could build one in this province and then build one in this province over here, because I think that is one of the biggest issues with the global campaign here is once you get to mid and late game, the game gets stalled because your opponents, the AIs, don't have to resource manage or anything like that, and it's very obvious that they don't, which isn't really a problem if you make it so that way either the AIs build buildings, whether they're actually using the buildings or not. Something for me to go take this building right here, this base, and already have something there, so I don't have to stop and take a year or a year and a half of game time to develop this area that should already be developed, because if we're 2 years into the game, they should have something. It just stalls the game a lot in the mid to late game when you take over one of these provinces, and now you have just a dead territory that's just going to start spawning you a bunch of rebels and stuff, and it's going to kill your stability. Because obviously the AI has no issues with it, considering my ally next to me on the one has like 800 soldiers. And it's like if I go take over above them and say that they weren't my ally, now I just have like a dead area up there that has no garrison, no buildings. It will have hardly any supplies, which will then leave a target for if Sombro here was not my ally and had like 600 soldiers, he would just attack me and just take it all. He doesn't have to worry about doing any of that and just start spawning more stuff. They can snowball like that. And then when you take over stuff, you get stalled because there's no development progress on anything. But that's one thing I would change. Let's go on to another. This one is really simple. I mean, just really simple. Let me cancel research, because if I'm looking through something and I say I accidentally click that, I'm like, oh man, that's 64 days. That's 2 months and 4 days of game time, or it depends on the month, whatever. But just like, let me right click it and cancel it. You could keep the progress that you've made already and just let me move on to something else, or you could totally abandon it and just let me move on to something else. Because when you accidentally click something, or say you click something and you want to research it, and then you realize, oh, I'm in December, if I had just waited, 2 weeks in game, which is like a minute, then you would be able to like, research FAMASas or something like that, something more important at the time maybe than, getting another ammo type to get down here for the later game. I just think that they should do that. I don't really see why you're locked into building a specific or like researching a specific thing when I really feel like you should just be able to cancel it. Even if you had to start it all over again, just let me cancel it. Please, that's all I ask. Please. Because, buildings, I start building that. I can cancel construction, but I can't cancel research. I feel like that's the same thing, right? Or if you go to diplomacy, say I want to justify a war goal, I can cancel the mission. I can stop it from happening. The only thing you can't stop is research. Everything else, you can stop production. You can stop trading. If I don't want to trade these anymore, I can stop it. Just let me do it for research. It would make so much sense. But let's go on to our fourth item on our wish list. So the fourth thing I would like them to add or consider is, I feel like your allies are completely useless. I am playing a playthrough right now, which I totally made mistakes on, by the way, so let's see if we can make it out of that if you're watching. But Sombro is my biggest ally, which is directly next to me, and Sombro has, I think he has like 800 soldiers. He probably has like 40 vehicles. He hasn't helped me one time. And you might say, well, it's because I attacked somebody. Well, I did, but one, they're my biggest ally. I should be able to ask them to help me or like coordinate a war target or something like that for them to come and actually attack with me. But I actually made an arm assist with an enemy, and then the enemy attacked me again. So that started a separate war from the original one, and then Sombro still doesn't help me. The enemies, you go to war with both, and you get attacked by both if you do that, but your ally just stands there and does nothing the whole time. I don't understand I don't know if that's a bug or they just didn't implement that yet, but I would very much like subway alliances are better, not just that they're not going to attack me. I want them to actually, help me in a war. That would be great. But let's move on to our final item on our wish list. So the very last thing that I would very much like to happen is, let me show you. Say I wanted to go fight this. And I'm like right here. I would like this to be able to reinforce right there. Or say, when I see them running for my city, see, it doesn't. It's 140. It would be 190 plus like 2 more vehicles if it was. Like, that makes sense. Like, they're right next to each other. Even if it was a delayed reinforce or something like that, where they came in off a different board edge, kind of like other games do. I think that is really needed. Also, like, if I'm over here defending this, because, they're getting attacked here, say I'm on a 2-front war and I see him running over here, if I have another army and I get at least, like, really close to be able to, like, reinforce it or something like that to help save a settlement, because, if they come and take it, then I have to attack it again, and, you're going to lose all your dudes, everything, and you'll have to retake it again. But I think it would be really beneficial to the game to allow reinforcing there. So then also, you could help reinforce with your allies. Oh, here's another thing too with the battles is when 2 enemies touch each other, it instantly happens. The entire battle is instantly over. It's just, they just die. Like, I would want to be able to reinforce like my ally or something like too, and like you could have an AI controlled army, and then you're controlling your troops while the AI is controlling your ally, and it could be like a big battle or something like that, something really sick like in Bannerlord. You get the reinforcements and you can get AI armies helping you and stuff like that. I just think it'd be really beneficial to this game to do something like that, and I think it would add more flavor to it. Also, as a little bonus add-on, I really, really want them to add up here on the menu, or maybe even in this economics thing, which they might be doing that with this. I'm not really sure what they're doing with that tab. It seems very useless right now. but show me like a net margin for all these things. Like if I'm spending, say if I'm building Kar 98s, which take 1 iron, 2 wood, I think. You know, if I'm building 2 of them at 2 different things, give me a -4 up here on wood. So that way I know, hey, to keep up with my production, I need to focus on making wood to keep up with what I'm doing. And they give me a -1 on iron. Or if I'm making like big vehicles, give me a -10 on iron or whatever it's using. Just that way I know when I have 14 bases and it's really hard to keep track of all the different things. Like I feel like the net margins would really help you do all that stuff. But that is going to be the end of the video, guys. If you are enjoying this kind of content, please consider following the channel to keep up to date on more Total Conflict Resistance content and other games that I'm doing. Thanks for watching.